This review of Mega Man may contain spoilers and coarse language. If neither of those bother you, then have fun watching and enjoying this review. Mega Man. It's fucking Mega Man! Mega Man, dude! Released in 1987 by Capcom for the Nintendo Entertainment System, this is an action platformer that helped become a catalyst for many games to follow suit. This game is the start of a fantastic franchise that spawned many sequels upon many spin-offs. Though you gotta ask yourself, the first one's hard to get right. It's usually the rough one. They've gotta fuck it up somehow. But did they? Well, we're gonna have to find out, right? Well, I hope you'll be joining me as we take a look at Mega Man, starting with its story. Mega Man in-game doesn't have any cutscenes to really show off who the characters are. In fact, you slap that start button and you're picking your bitch to fuck up. But there is a story for this game. Dr. Light is an accomplished robotics scientist who pioneered the innovation of robotics in this game's time period of 2000X. Wonder when he did that. With that, Dr. Light made incredibly dangerous robots that can do extremely powerful things that in the wrong hands could conquer the world. And his former jealous partner, Dr. Wily, took control of these robots and they are attempting to conquer the world. Great. Because of that incident, Rock, Light's robotic lab assistant, wishes to become militarized to help defeat the Berserk robots because it would be faster than building a robot to take care of them. Thus, Mega Man was born, and although he doesn't like it, he knows that it's the right thing to do. Oh, also, Rock's sister Roll is there. That's all she really does. It's kind of nice that Mega Man is hesitant about becoming a robotic weapon. That kind of stuff feels oddly more human than robotic, and helps add some character. But the story itself is as bare bones as it can be. Not to say that it's bad, in fact, it's kind of refreshing to pull the string and let it go. However, one thing to note is that Dr. Light and Wily both have first names. Light's being Thomas for Thomas Edison, who's hilariously an asshole, and Wily's name is Albert of Albert Einstein. Odd that a Japanese company like Capcom would name Wily after Einstein. Like, what did he do, blow up their country twice? Now comes the nice meat of this game, the gameplay, starring Mega fucking Man. He can run, jump, and shoot, and that's all you need. He controls solidly and snappily, except one weird thing where he decelerates when you let go of the controls. It's weird and makes platforming a little annoying with his otherwise very snappy controls. Due to these snaps, though, Mega Man has tons of little platforms that he has to jump onto, with precision and timing being the key in this game. One thing that's bizarre, though, is that certain platforms don't reset Mega Man's gravity, so if he falls off of them, he just falls at terminal velocity. And yeah, that's, definitely an out-of-left-field thing there. Mega Man also has a health bar and an ammunition bar. The health bar can easily be recovered from items that enemies are able to drop when you defeat them. Along with that, ammunition also has a very similar thing. We'll talk about that a bit more when we get to enemies. The main huge deal about this game is that when you defeat a boss, you're able to use its weapon as a regular weapon of yours, with the cost of it requiring ammunition. This helps give you some initiative to say, yeah, give me that good shit. That's my weapon. And honestly, this game has fun weapons. There's 6 and a necessary one to find, and all of them have their purpose. Firstly, though, Mega Man's main power pellet lemon thing, whatever you call it, is actually pretty solid. Does normal damage, of course, but you can have 3 on screen, can easily be fired ahead. It's a very nice weapon. Mega Man features 6 bosses for you to beat before you fight the big meanie Dr. Wily, and they each have different strategies to beat them. When you start the game, you can choose any of them to fight, and the game is built around you beating whichever one you want. Obviously, though, if it's your first time, yeah, you'll find some of the Robot Masters are easier than others. Still, the fun of the game is learning it, especially with the rock, paper, scissors mechanics in this game. This mechanic allows Mega Man to take weapons from bosses, use them on other bosses, and completely decimate them. So if you want to take these bosses out, use the weapons you got from others and see what happens. Not only that, but weapons have some flexibility. While there's absolutely ones that do the damage, some others can do good damage to bosses without them being majorly weak to it. With that, you get some solid weapons from this game. The thing with these weapons, too, is that you can easily change them by pausing the game with the start button and selecting them, making it very easy to switch to them, and Mega Man's color changes, too. Cutman's rolling cutter is super nice, as it hits low enemies and boomerangs back to you. Electman's Thunder Beam is a giant screen-clearing electric sperm weapon that fires in 3 directions and does extremely good damage. Yeah, this one? Oh, it's my favorite. Fireman's Firestorm is a giant fireball with another fireball spinning around Mega Man, and it's great for everything in general. Not my favorite, but Fireman's my favorite robot master, so I like using it because of him. Oh man, when I get to do Powered Up, you're gonna see why I like Fireman. The only weapon that kinda sucks is Gutsman's Super Arm. Wow, you lift blocks. You can't even do anything with it unless there's a fucking block to pick up. You can pick up stupid fucking blocks! Very cool! Though when you do need it, it's fine, it's just a very situational weapon and overall not very general purpose. Regarding the level design, this is where the true meat of Mega Man shines and also fails. Yeah, that's a good fucking preface to this, isn't it? All the levels have unique gimmicks and design to them that flare how fun they are. Good examples of variety would be the ice physics for Iceman's stage, Fireman's elements of fire like pillars of fire, lava, and fireballs that are all themed well. Bombman's enemies also feature enemies that blow up besides Sniper Joe's. The stages are very well themed and it's quite cool to see. Some stages even share some tropes, like Electman and Iceman both having disappearing block platforms. And those are really fun to do. Unfortunately, level lengths are pretty inconsistent, with Gutsman's stage being quite short, but stages like Electman's being very long. But, whew! There's some crazy bad level design in some stages. Static clinging to Electman's stage, he's got something in his stage called the Magnet Beam, a necessary to beat the game weapon, which thankfully if you miss, you can go back and grab it after getting to Wily Stage 1 and wondering what the fuck you did wrong. However, after getting that, there's a part where you can pick a direction where you want to go, but one of them ends with a Gutsman block. So if you don't have that, you have to go all the way down and back up the other side. That is annoying. Iceman also has an annoying part, along with Wily Stage 1, where you have to jump on robots that fire out projectiles. Doesn't sound too bad, except for their patterns being entirely random. That randomness makes that part so bad that, well, you'd be better off using the magnet beam to skip all those parts. I've had moments where doing it legitimately, waiting for a jump, took minutes. I gotta tell you, I can be a very patient man. But not when I have the ability to say, fuck this, and use something to skip it. Oh boy, though. That boss rush. Oh, okay, so in the Wily stages, you refight all the bosses. You fight Cutman and Electman as a separate thing in Stage 2, but then when you get to the last stage, that has 4 of them, back to back, with no health in between. And that shit, it's hard. If anything, hard is what describes Mega Man's level design. There's enemies in incredibly dickish places, but it's easy to figure out where they are and plan around them by either avoiding them or destroying them. Just don't rush into stages headstrong, and you should be good. Unlike in Necrolepsy, I reward you for doing that. But overall, there's still some cruddy design instances. But the level design isn't much without enemies, which are a kind of neat aspect about Mega Man. See, enemies are placed in kinda dickish spots, but you also find out that they're all interesting and hard to really misjudge. See, in Cutman's stage, you have these block guys that bounce back and forth. But not only that, they are in really obnoxious spots when you first spot them. But eventually you find out that they're easy to take care of. There's obnoxious ones like Sniper Joe's, Miner Joe's, I'm really just guessing their name there, and the Femur Breaker bot, which is totally not its name, but they can be really obnoxious. But you find out tricks with them. Sniper Joe's have animations before they fire and can be tricked into jumping where they're more vulnerable. Miner Joes are almost always vulnerable, and you can slap them with many shots before they die. Then the Femur Breaker bot, well, you can use the magnet beam to jump over them, but you can also jump with them to make it jump higher, allowing you to walk under it. It's really weird how enemies can have all these strange tactics to them, but I also find it to be a very cool aspect of Mega Man. Another crazy thing that's pretty unique to this game are points. Not only can enemies drop health and ammunition refilling, but Mega Man can also obtain points after beating enemies, and can get bonus points from beating them after they drop tiny colored balls. What does the score do, though? Like, what's this big score thing that you can keep track of and put on your NESLive.com and shit? Oh, it doesn't do shit. It doesn't do anything at all. You don't even get a 1-up after hitting certain score limits or whatever, so yeah, thanks for even bothering with that one, Capcom. Bosses themselves tend to be more obnoxious. Certain bosses are cakewalks, while other ones are obnoxious random bastards. I gotta tell you, trying to do a perfect Electman with just the Buster, well, it can be luck-based, until you break his AI. But Iceman, Cutman, and Gutsman are super predictable. They have really obnoxious bosses in the Wily stages. Everyone knows him and loves his glitch. The Yellow Devil is obnoxious. Yeah, you can do it legitimately. I did it legitimately too, and it wasn't really fun. Learning his pattern is cool, but the window to hit him is very short. The glitch to beat him is that you can pause the game with the select button, but that doesn't stop his invulnerability timer, so you can just keep tapping it to do multiple hits to him. I used to make fun of people that did this trick, but doing it legitimately made me realize that I'm the fucking moron for trying to prove something. Then the other bosses, like the Copy Mega Man and Bubblefuck, don't really do anything. Like Copy Mega Man just jumps and shoot, I mean, well, that's what you do too, but you can easily break his AI. But Bubblefuck just spins around in a circle, then comes out again and moves slightly faster. I will say that the final Wily boss is cool. Fighting him with 2 phases and having to do some great maneuvering around the beams he fires is really fun. Except if, he fires something and then you're waiting for him to go into a second phase and then that second shot kills you. That's not fun. But what's really not fun is that right before the Wily fight is, well, the shitty boss refight, and that did not make that enjoyable. Yeah, can't wait to fight Wily after I got butt-fucked by the remaining 4 Robot Masters with no recoverable health after it. Great design there, Capcom! Seriously, that whole part is a test of patience, made even more obnoxious by the fact that you can't even change your weapons until the fucking boss death sprites appear off-screen. Really, guys? Ignoring that, there are more positive aspects about Mega Man. One such thing are the graphics. Characters move really nicely and are pretty detailed in terms of discernible faces and movements are concerned. Some stages can have some really great sprite work too, with tons of attention to detail put into certain assets. Electman stage is a very pretty one, and I'm quite fond of Gutsman and Fireman stages, but some texture work is extremely bad. Holy crap, the water tube area of Wily Castle has some terribly simple textures. Yeah, woohoo! I'm in a bunch of tubes trapped inside of insulation. Great. One thing that I really loathe in this game are the backgrounds. Some of them are single colors, and I can understand why they'd use some of them, like in maybe the Wily Machine fight. Others just aren't that good. There are places like an Electman stage that have downright nothing but a simple color. There could easily have been more put into that. One thing that is also a bit of a pain is the optimization. There are certain parts where there will be a lot of enemies on screen and the game will lag a bit. I'm not 100% sure on what the cause of it would be, but it could simply be bad coding and memory management. Overall though, this game's graphics and animations are pretty solid, though more work could be put into the backgrounds, especially when the ending shot is so damn good. So damn good. Ooh, that parallax is awesome. Now the audio can be spoken about, and Mega Man has an extremely solid soundtrack. Many stages have some really great music, and they're quite catchy. There's some favorites of mine, like Bomb Man stage, capturing some fun mystique about it. Electman stage is a very interesting one because, well, it uses a riff of ton of 80s songs used. And if you say something sounds like Electman, I just believe you. Of course you mean to say it sounds like Tough Boy, right? Because that's the only right answer to what Electman sounds like. It sounds like Tough Boy. Ooh. Oh man. What a great song. Sound effects in Mega Man are easily recognizable and really cool. Explosions have punch. Defeating and hitting enemies are distinct sounds, and audio cues for actions are great. The worst aspect is that sometimes there's looping audio effects that are, well, bluntly, annoying as fuck. Gutsman Stage has these platforms that have a stupid sound effect that plays, and I gotta be honest, it would be better to save some sound channels to make them shut up! Ignoring that, the sound design is excellent with this game. So let's say John Capcom finally admitted that a random idiot in the United States knows better than him and gave me the role of director. What would I change about Mega Man to make it more enjoyable? Man, there's a lot of easy things to fix. The first is Mega Man's decelerating when moving. It doesn't add anything and removes some of the precision Mega Man has. Second would be bug fixing. A minor glitch that happens when getting hit is it doesn't give you after invincibility on spikes, making you instantly die. No. People should at least have a chance if they get knocked onto that. Another solid one to fix is Mega Man falling at terminal velocity on platforms. That's really dumb. That's really fucking dumb. That is not how gravity works. I don't even know how that got past Q&A. The fact that you can't switch weapons even after defeating a boss during the rush is also stupid as fuck, so that would definitely be looked at. Of course, with that, optimization should also be inspected to see why certain enemies can lag the game. Third, I'd make Iceman's platform guys a lot less obnoxious, and have them follow a set path so it's not random. Seriously, those guys are terrible to wait for. So having them go in a more square-like pattern would be, while more predictable, more fun overall. Fourth, I'd make the score actually mean something. At 100,000 points each, you should get a 1-up. There. Done. It fucking matters now. It should be at about 100,000 though, because it's quite easy to get lower point values, especially with the boss clear thing. So, yeah, it should probably be higher. That's it for the minor fixes, I think. I'm probably going to come up with more. But there's some major ones that definitely need to be looked at. I'd make certain boss fights way less annoying. Fireman needs to chill out, and definitely having more of a setup to when he's attacking, along with not lowering his guard when sending out another shot. Electman also needs to chill out with aggression. Having him do more strategic retreating jumps would be nice. Same with the Yellow Devil. I'd probably have him stay there stationary at least enough to get 2 safe electric blasts in on him, and decrease the speed of his little chunks slightly. Also, he has a hidden little thing that just pops up in between his feet, which, really? You guys thought that was necessary? I'd also make it so that Bubblefuck has something more interesting than just going around in a circle. Perhaps being able to reverse direction, and also make it slightly weaker to other attacks, because this fight can really be a chore. Copy Mega Man I don't exactly have any ideas about, but I would probably make it so that he would fire a bit more often. Bigger changes, of course, would involve making the boss rush before the Wily fight, slapping down some health after you beat one of the bosses, along with making it easier to not get stuck in the teleporter by changing its location to the opposite side per stage. Yes, I know about the Capcom Yashichi thing that refills all your shit. That doesn't mean these bosses get any less annoying, you smartass! Minorly as well, adding some more elements to the backgrounds like clouds wouldn't hurt. Hey, I did think of something. Seriously, doesn't even need to have any parallax workarounds, just some nice clouds in the sky to just make it less bland. Also with audio, yeah, Gutsman's platforms don't need to continuously make that sound, so screw that. That seems to be it for what I'd like to change about this. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot I'd like to change about Mega Man here. Even so, despite me swearing like a sailor at certain parts, oh my god, that fucking boss refight! I can see the attention to detail and success this game paved. Honestly, it's a solid game, but it's not exactly a masterpiece that got it right on its first try. You know, it's no Castlevania or Ninja Gaiden or Super Mario Bros. Or hell, even Wonder Boy, but it's still a solid game at its core. Now, I'm sure you all realize that, this basically created every Mega Man game afterwards, which is kinda cool to think about. But that's also one of the reasons why this game is so interesting. Despite it not being the best, its concept and design philosophy has a lot of potential, and that's what keeps making Mega Man games interesting. If you also want to try something interesting while you're here, you can check out my games, Necrolepsy, an action platformer with a demo on Steam, and Draco Blood, an action RPG I'm funding via Patreon that also has a prototype for you to play. Check them out if they interest you. With that, Mega Man is a solid entry into a solid franchise. But here's one of the problems with reviewing things in hindsight. I already know what Mega Man's future entails. And I gotta say, stay tuned for more.
Yo!